the only way I see Gaethje getting anything from this fight is if Oliveira makes a mistake. Literally, because I think Gaethje is so basic on what he does and his fighting style. Don't get me wrong, it is good. I'm not criticizing him, but I'm just like, I don't see much else. And I think that it could be an absolute destruction, if I'm honest, by Oliveira. If Charlie Olives does what he's done to Ferguson, Chandler, and Poirier, if he does that and just doesn't get hit as much,
Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz on the Round Table Discussions where we discuss all sports all the time. Got my guy Tooth in the building. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, bruv. I'm good, man. This guy does not rest. He's back from JA, training the Island boys, and he's back on the poddy. You know what I mean? You got a shout out to TJ, bro. This guy's a machine, bruv. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I actually appreciate the shout out. Apart from that, bro, stop with this Island boys nonsense, bro. I told you already, man was out there in Tivoli with Aljo, bro, celebrating our victory since the last poddy, bro. Since the last poddy, I've been out there, me and Aljo sipping cocktails and that, bro, enjoying the sunshine, preparing for our next opponent, bro. I'm telling you now, bro. Aljo is gonna go on, bro. He is going to be better than Anderson Silva. I tell you this now, bro. I'm telling you this now.
Do you know what, man? Like, to all the viewers out there, man, it's not just Aljo he was chilling with, man. We'll get into someone else that he was chilling with on the pod.
Nah, don't even try it. Don't even try and say
as well,
him,
but
I was not chilling with him, bro. He's still out on the canvas right now.
Listen, man. TJ was training Dillian to walk into the same shot that he always gets hit with over and over again by everyone. But no, there's another Jamaican dude on the card, bro. There's on the card we're going to talk about, bro. But I've told you about this guy before, bro. He's slept on, man. Randy Brown. But
yeah.
we'll get into him later, bro, because he's on one of the prelim cards. So but yeah, man, it's good to have you back, bro. It's good to have you back, man. Bro, watch out for TJ's next project with the Island boys. They're gonna get into boxing. Do you know what I mean? So shout out to the Island boys if you're watching.
This guy's a fool, bro. This guy's a fool. And I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, bro. Not so much because of life, but glad to be back on the poddy. People, as you know, we went on sabbatical. It was me this time. It was me. I was away. So unfortunately, there was no content being put out, but we are back and we're better than ever, going harder than ever. And as you know, when I'm with my guy, the Nate Diaz of dentistry, our MMA connoisseur Tooth, you know what time it is. It's time for fight talk. And you know, it also means that there is another big UFC card coming up, UFC 274 coming up this Saturday. But as usual, before we start, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the likes up, get the subscriptions up, all that good stuff. As I say all the time, share. We are here. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. Before we get into it, I want to say Eid Mubarak to all my fellow Muslim brothers that watch the program. Obviously, my guy Tooth, don't know, you know what it is, bro.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
But yeah, people, let's get into it. UFC 274 coming up this Saturday. Where is it, Tooth? Do you know where it is?
It is in. I've got the thing in front of me, bro, but it's just not saying the venue. Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy, bro. You know this here, like every time. Like you act like I'm prepared for these things, bro.
You know what? I just thought off the top of your head, you know, because I genuinely can't remember. It's
in Arizona, bro. No, it's in Phoenix, bro. It's in Phoenix. Okay. Because I was watching the countdown earlier, and they said it, and it just went over my head, bro. But yeah, it's in Phoenix. Interesting. It's a big card.
Big card, massive card, 3 massive fights. I mean, they're all big fights. Obviously, 2 we'll get into the other fights on the card that I have no idea about. but the three big fights on that card are going to be insane. And we've got to start with the main event. Our boy, bruv, Charlie Olives back in the octagon, this time taking on, he's our boy as well, bruv. Gaethje taking on Gaethje for the lightweight title. Yeah, for lightweight, undisputed lightweight title. Two interesting fight this one is. Obviously, our guy Charlie Olives obviously recently won the belt. Has been slaying everyone in his path. Gaethje obviously coming back from the loss to Habib, beating Chandler in his comeback fight. Just from your perspective, bro, like what are we anticipating from this fight? We know because it's two different styles of fighters and whatnot. So just let me know what you think that's going to happen in this fight, bro.
If we're going off what we've seen from Oliviera's last 2-3 fights, which were against
what's the
Tony
name?
Ferguson,
Poirier,
Chandler, and Poirier.
Yeah.
We can expect like madness, bruv. And if we're going off Justin Gaethje's fucking whole career, you know, we're safe to say that this fight is going to be fucking fireworks, bruv. But obviously, the more polished of the two would be Charles Oliveira. The more relentless, if you would say, because Oliveira is also, you know, a bit of a zombie, moving forward, pressure fighter kind of guy as well. But you would have to give that more to Gaethje, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then the rest is nothing but air and opportunity between them. Bro, it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
It is. And the thing is, as I said, Oliveira's on a tear. He's on a 10-fight win streak. Obviously, the last three names that you brought up, Tony Ferguson, Chandler, and Poirier, he's beaten them all. He's like, and the thing is, like, I think I was listening to something, and you obviously know better than me, bruv. Like, when he first came into the UFC and you saw Oliveira, did you ever think he will go on this mad run and become the fighter that he is? Because he's got 8 losses on his record.
Yeah, he does. He does. I was watching some of the promo stuff earlier today, and on Fox they had Michael Chiesa, who's also a 155. I think he's gone up. I don't know what's happening in his career, but he seems to be doing like punditry now. And then Din Thomas as well. And that's exactly what they brought up. And I was looking through some of the comments as well. And that's the thing, like people will look at Oliveira and look at those losses and judge him on those losses. But the turnaround that he's had is something that happens very rarely in mixed martial arts or in any sport. Someone that you would consider a complete outsider to completely switch it up like that and then go on this incredible tear. Like, he was just one of many. The only thing that he had when he came into the UFC was his very jiu-jitsu based game plan and style. If he was to get a hold of you, that was it. And that's what he was known as. He was a jiu-jitsu guy, and that's the category he fell into. And he did go on a number of losses. People figured out to make him quit or make him sort of doubt himself and give up in fights. And that became his Achilles heel. So he was a very sort of textbook, two-dimensional sort of guy, with all due respect. And he kept his position in UFC for a long time because, you know, he'd go on these inconsistent streaks, you know, win a few, lose a few, win a few, win one, lose one, bounce back, all this kind of thing. So he then became a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for him to turn it around definitely attributes to a lot of things, him having to go back to the drawing board and understand, like, look, he's in that point of it in his career where this will be his final run.
Yeah.
So he played the game very well in taking on all comers and then basically making him the undeniable #1 contender. To get these shots against the guys like Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, and essentially pick him off. And now we're at Gaethje, who I think, if we're looking at his losses, we are looking way too far back to try and nitpick at maybe potential weaknesses, because I feel like he's overcome them. He does have weaknesses now, new ones, which Gaethje can exploit, of course. Gaethje definitely has a clear path to victory, but I don't feel like any of those prior losses that Oliveira has had will basically come into play for this. Potentially, lessons learned from those losses are still there to be exposed. He's very hittable. You know what I mean? He's very hittable, and something that we know Gaethje likes to do is just hit you until you fucking crumble.
Yeah, of course.
But that remains to be seen. Do you know what I mean? That remains to be seen. I know for sure this is gonna be a fight where both guys are gonna get hurt, man. You know what I mean? It's just, it has to be.
It does, and I think the one thing that, you know, this one thing I think we can guarantee from both these fighters is, bro, this is going to be a stoppage, because I think, what is it? I think between the two of them, I think only 2 of the fights have gone to unanimous to the decision. I think everything else has been either obviously TKO or submission. So I think there's a high percentage that this fight's going to go all the way. I just want something that you said about Gaethje, because when I look at Gaethje, I see him as very limited. Don't get me wrong, he's very good at what he does and how he wins fights. But I just feel like he hasn't got as many tools in his arsenal that Oliveira has. So you said that there is a clear path for Gaethje to win. What is that path? Because I just think that if he can't hit Oliveira, where can he really go from there?
Oh, no, I for sure. I have no doubt that Gaethje can hit Oliveira. Oliveira is very hittable. He went down against Chandler and he went down against Poirier. And if we're talking about the guys who put it on you, Gaethje is probably the best guy in that division. You know what I mean? Look at what Gaethje's done to all of these guys, you know. So it leads me to believe that, yeah, Gaethje is at some point potentially going to clip Oliveira. But we've seen how Oliveira has dealt with that adversity as well. However, Gaethje's detriment, that style, in my opinion, is not a very long-term style. It doesn't carry a lot of longevity. At some point, the wheels are going to come off. The cracks are going to show. For a style like that, I believe the peak is a very short period where you can get away with walking forward, swinging haymakers, applying that sort of pressure, being the bully, being the zombie, constantly moving forward, but at the same time, doing all of that, exposing yourself. A much more intelligent fighter would be able to pick that style apart with no problem whatsoever. I mean, let's say if we shrunk Adesanya down to 155, I think he would fucking wipe the floor with Gaethje and make him look completely average.
Well, this is what I'm getting at, and when I say he's very limited, don't get me wrong, he's good at what he does, but he's limited. I mean, he's obviously, I know Khabib we're talking GOAT status, but obviously he's a prime example of nullifying anything that Gaethje had. And then when I just look at Oliveira, I just think that with all the tools that he's now got in his arsenal, right, I'm just like, this guy has so many different ways of beating Gaethje, and height and reach being one of them. Yeah. So
I knew it.
But it is true though. I think not so much height, because I think Gaethje's like an inch taller, but reach definitely. If Oliveira fights at length, then Gaethje is gonna struggle. Because if he can't hit him, there basically is nowhere for him to go. I think I saw something. I think Gaethje's got a good wrestling background. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. Gaethje is an incredible wrestler, bruv. Gaethje, NCAA D1, one of those guys in the American sort of wrestling collegiate program, whatever the fuck they have, high level wrestler. He's made this commitment to fucking try get to CTE faster than any human has possibly got there before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wants to achieve optimal brain damage at the fastest rate. Like that, he's just decided to ignore his wrestling, ignore his everything else, and just go out there and fucking punch people and get hit back. You're like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. And he said that in numerous interviews. That's why he's never, believe it or not, with his wrestling background, he's never gone for a shot or a takedown. Do you know what I mean? He's always like tried to keep the fight standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and what you were saying with Oliveira with keeping it at range. Yeah, if he essentially, if he wants to win the stand-up fight, he does want to keep it at range where he can load off with his kicks, with his knees, with his nice crisp boxing, and then and also sort of dive in and out of the exchanges. However, even if he does get close, I feel like the confidence that Oliveira has right now, which is on godly levels, he wouldn't even mind if he gets into a clinch or taken down, because like we said, I mean, his jiu-jitsu is on such another level. The way he submitted Poirier, just standing, like what was it? They were standing, he was close to the cage, he didn't care, he just took his back, like jumped on him like a backpack and choked him out. With Michael Chandler as well, even though he was in trouble with the submission, he got out of it. And even though he ended the fight with strikes, we saw his jiu-jitsu transitions. We saw him threatening with jiu-jitsu. So he wouldn't mind. He wouldn't mind, even in my opinion. I think they're prepared for anything when Justin Gaethje comes to fight him. Gaethje's trainer, Trevor Whitman, he is what I'm sort of like, this is what I'm thinking, like, what would he be telling Gaethje to go do against Oliveira? Because I know there's a path to victory, but other than like just going out there and doing what Gaethje does exactly what it says on the tin. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Ron, just do that. And then what else is there, bruv? Like, you know what I mean?
But this is my point. I'm just like, bro, like I said, he's good at what he does, but I see chinks in the armor because, like, obviously, like Gaethje loves to basically destroy that front leg, right? He loves the low kicks to the front leg. But when I've looked at Oliveira's fights, like his weight's not on his front foot. He goes off the back foot. He likes to use the teep kicks and whatnot. And as you said, the knees. So I'm just like, that kind of becomes irrelevant. And then when you're trying to swing, if Oliveira keeps it at range, you're just hitting air. So. And I'm just like, so if you can't do none of those two things, like, what else is there? Yes, you could probably stuff his takedowns because, obviously, as he said, he's a very, very good wrestler. But, bruv, Oliveira can just do anything. Like, I mean, as we know, this guy's got the most submissions in UFC history. The submission, especially, he could do anything. And even I can't see how Gaethje does win. The only way I see Gaethje getting anything from this fight is if Oliveira makes a mistake. Literally, because I think Gaethje is so basic on what he does and his fighting style. Don't get me wrong, it is good. I'm not criticizing him, but I'm just like, I don't see much else. And I think that it could be an absolute destruction, if I'm honest, by Oliveira. If Charlie Olives does what he's done to Ferguson, Chandler, and Poirier, if he does that and just doesn't get hit as much, I can't. I can't see how Gaethje wins.
I like your breakdown of it, bro, because that's how I look at fights as well. Like I look at each of their sort of threats, and then I look at like their how they can nullify each other's sort of threats. And as we said earlier, Justin doesn't shoot for takedowns or anything, so we could completely take out the wrestling part and the jiu-jitsu part of the fight on Justin's end, because he just doesn't do that. So then we're just talking about stand-up. And now if we're talking about stand-up, yeah, he does have a puncher's chance. All right, but that's just a puncher's chance. That comes down to luck. We can't measure luck by any metric. Do you know what I mean? The leg kicks, yeah, cool. But as you pointed out, like Oliveira has a Muay Thai stance. Like he can check kicks. He likes teep kicks, which count as leg kicks. He throws his own knees, his own kicks. So the Muay Thai, we can say, all right, one apiece. Do you know what I mean? They're like neither one edges it out. But then if we're going on striking as a whole, you'd have to give that to Oliveira. He's the more polished striker, the more unorthodox. I would say has more tools, you know, in his toolbox. I've seen him throw a more variety of strikes, but as Bruce Lee says, you know, you can't fear the man that throws 1,000 kicks. You have to fear the man that throws one kick 1,000 times.
100.
With that being said, we know what Gaethje's about. You know, he is the guy that throws one kick 1,000 times. As an analogy to his style, you know, he's the guy that can't. You know exactly what you're getting with Gaethje. You don't even need to watch fights. You don't need to watch tape. Like, you know what you're getting with him. Which, like I said, with that style, there is an expiry date, and usually it is a very quick and sudden expiry date, and it tends to snowball once it is, you know, declining.
Yeah.
And I think Oliveira is the guy to do that to someone like Justin Gaethje. However, puncher's chance, like we said, Gaethje holds incredible power. Let's not forget what he's done to guys like Cerrone, Cowboy, and number of other guys. And Oliveira's dropped in his last two. He's been dropped in his last two fights by Poirier and Chandler. So still, I'm leaning towards Oliveira, but Gaethje, if he clips him, we just have to see, man. We just have to see.
This is it. And in saying that too, come on, let's go, bro. What are you saying? Give me the prediction, bro. What are you going for?
I'm going to go for a 5-round snooze fest. a total of 3 significant strikes thrown per round. This is going to be up there with like Kimbo versus Dada 5000. Do you know what I mean? That's what I expect, man. No, I'm joking, bro. I think, do you know what, man? I think it's going to be a 5-round war with Oliveira coming out on top. I do. I would love to see a finish. And like you said, normally when you get two guys that are such finishers, you know, such killers, it does tend to become a war of attrition.
This is it.
In more often, you know, more often than not of these sort of cases, we do see it go out the full 5 rounds. But I would love to see a finish, but I can't. I would say if it was to be finished, it will be probably Oliveira, TKO, you know. But I'm certain it's going to be a 5-round war.
Fair enough. I'm saying Oliveira rear naked choke in the 4th, bruv.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, the last 2 Oliveira title fights, bruv, you bet against him. You pick Chandler and you pick Poirier. I'm happy to see like he's won you over, bro. Nah.
Charlie Olives, he's won me over, bro. I've seen the vast improvement. And I just look at this fight with Gaethje and I just say, as we say in boxing, it's a puncher's chance for Gaethje. I actually don't give Gaethje much of a chance. I'm wrong. If he clips him, it's a different story because we know the one punch power that Justin Gaethje has. But nah, I think Charlie Olives has got this, brother, and the streak is gonna go up to 11. But people, we're gonna see what happens with this fight. Obviously, it's a big title fight between these two, and it's gonna be an exciting one, so you don't want to miss it. And we move over to the other title fight that is on the card, and our girl is back. Thug Rose is back in the octagon, taking on Carla Esparza. I didn't realize this is the second fight too.
Yeah, man. Rematch. They
fought,
how we do out here, bro. Rematch, rubber match, quadruples. We do it all out here, bro.
Nah, I hear that. So obviously they fought. I think it was Thug Rose's. Was it Thug Rose's first fight in the UFC?
Yeah, it was. So basically, you know the Ultimate Fighter TV show?
Yeah.
They were the first ever cast members on the show for the female division.
Okay.
So at the end of the show, they fought for the inaugural belt.
Yeah.
And Rose was like,
right.
Yeah, Rose was a kid at the time. She was like, what, 18, 19? She was the youngest on the whole cast. Like, no experience, nothing. So she lost that fight. But this is, you know, again, a fight you can forgive her for losing, and a fight that didn't really hold too much weight, looking at the way things have panned out now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, because Thug Rose right now is obviously she won the belt against Joanna, then lost it to is it Andrade?
Yeah,
and then won it back. Then we saw the surprising knockout to Zhang Weili with that left kick to the head, and then an out-and-out war in their second fight, which I can't disagree that Rose won, but it was obviously a much closer encounter between the two. And now obviously Carla Esparza has been on a 5-fight win streak. She's beaten everyone that's come up against her, so she's earned the right to this title fight. So to just give us your, I think this is going to be one of them fights where it's stand up versus ground. I don't know much about Carla Esparza. I think you know a lot more, but I think obviously Thug Rose is more superior on the feet, and Esparza's obviously clearly more superior on the ground. So just give the people the insight, bro.
Yeah, man. Esparza's been slept on. So basically, Esparza, she was one of the early female champion. In fact, the first female champion in that division. Again, based off the TV show. And, you know, the division was very light at the time. There was no one really in there. And then it started developing. They started getting people like Joanna in there, Valentina in there. Like, the division started growing. And as it started growing, Esparza, you saw, was like at the time, a very big fish in a small pond. And as it started growing, you started seeing like, oh, actually, she's kind of capped. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, 2-dimensional, 1-dimensional fighter. But as the years went on, people slept on her, and she was getting these victories under her belt, similar to Oliviera in that sense, where it got to the point where like, she's undeniable now. Like, she's basically taken out everyone. She's gone about it the hard way. Like, once she lost the title and she went on a few, you know, runs, you know, few wins, few losses. And then once something changed where she just went on this incredible run, started taking out all comers and any comers, and then working her way up to becoming like the undisputed #1 title challenger, you know. So she's been slept on, man. And personally, I think this is a bad matchup for Rose. And it's got nothing to do with their first fight. It's just got to do with their styles. But yeah, Esparza's put in that work, basically. So Many of the fans may not know, but if you've been following the scene, you know, people have been taking notice of her work.
Yeah.
Like, she's definitely deserving of this shot, bro. Definitely deserving of this shot.
No, I don't dispute that. As I said, if you're on a 5-fight win streak, you deserve some sort of shot. If not at the champion, then obviously #1 contender, and she's earned the right. Why do you think this is a bad matchup for Thug Rose, though? Because I heard you say that. Why do you think this is such a bad matchup for her?
Well, Esparza is just an out-and-out wrestler. That's all she does. That's her bread and butter. Now, earlier on in her career, she was very predictable, and you know, it didn't take much to sort of nullify her and beat her.
Yeah.
But like I said, she's just slowly managed to get the fight to the ground and take control of the fight, no matter who she's fought. So they've made tweaks. They've made tweaks in her game plans and her strategy. She's obviously improved on the ground, on the feet, to like get the fight to the ground. All these little tweaks have been made, and it's just paid off, bruv. It's just paid off. If you all those 5 fights that you've mentioned, well, all those 5 fights that she's been on, those that win streak she's been on, every single fight has been the same. It's like she's been competent on the feet with the striking, and then managed to get the fight on the ground and completely just take over the fight to the point where it's been almost Habib-esque, but I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, just smothering.
Yeah.
So she's beaten a few good girls, man. She's beaten Alexa Grasso, who's on her own little run right now, tearing up the division. She's beaten Michelle Waterson, who's a big name in that division. That's a scout. She beat Marina Rodriguez, who's also going on her own little streak right now. You know, good girls. And then she beat this Chinese girl who was one of the new sort of wave of Chinese female fighters, who was also a prospect, and she was tearing shit up as well. Completely written off in that fight. Carla was like, she was a really ridiculously large underdog, and she won that fight as well. So the reason why I think she'll be a threat to Rose is because of her wrestling, but that's not to say, like, you know, Rose hasn't defeated wrestlers before. She beat Andrade, but you know, you can't forget what happened in the first fight.
Exactly.
Rose is not really a wrestler. She's more jiu-jitsu, so she knows how to take care of herself on the ground, but wrestling is not really her division. It's more striking and submission, whereas Carla Esparza is that in between. She's that grappling and that wrestling. Yeah,
of course.
This is why I feel like it's a bad matchup for Rose. And Rose's last 3 fights have all been against strikers.
It's true.
You know, the two Zhang Weili fights, and then the Joanna fights, and then she had Andrade in there as well, but still predominantly strikers.
Yeah.
However, like I said, man, their coach is Trevor Whitman. He is a mastermind genius, but still, we'll see what happens. Sorry, brother, I was cutting you off, man.
Now what I was gonna say is no, I 100% agree with you, and I get why. I just think if Rose just keeps it on the feet, I just think it's an easy day's work. To be honest, I think Rose's main priority in terms of the training camp is not even to work on striking. It's just takedown defense. Stop Esparza from taking you down and getting you down to the ground. I think if she does that and just absolutely frustrates her and absolutely just picks her off on the feet, I genuinely think it's an easy day's work for Thug Rose. However, as you said, if Esparza can get her on the ground, it's going to be long for Thug Rose. Long. Because I watched a couple of videos of Esparza and I was just like, bro, like, it's just constant smothering. It's constant smothering. Like, as you said, Habib-esque, obviously not that far, but like literally it's just like You're on the ground. You're not going to do nothing. It's either I'm going to beat the shit out of you and you're going to give up, or you just try and wait for the bell, because once we're down here, nothing else is going to change. So I 100% see why you would say it's going to be a difficult night for Rose, but I just think keep it on the feet. The fight starts on the feet. Work on your takedown defense, and I can't see how Esparza beats her. But it's an interesting one because obviously, as we know, styles make fights.
Yeah, man, you're right, bruv. You're right. I never really went into that much thought with, you know, if Rose just keeps it standing and picks her apart, and, you know, your favorite aspect of every fight, height and reach and all of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, bruv, it could be a death by 1,000 cuts, bruv. It could just be, you know, Carla Esparza turning into a punching bag like she did in her first title defense against Joanna, because she got completely fucked up in that fight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, completely fucked. Like, she just turned into a punching bag. Like, Joanna was just, I think it was incredible. Like, there was like 400 strikes Joanna threw, some crazy stat like that, and Esparza didn't even throw a strike. And there were, you know, it was standing. It was all standing. She was just peppering her. So it has the potential to be like that because Rose's striking is so elite.
Yeah.
Like, country miles ahead of what anything Esparza can provide, you know. So, but I don't know, like, if you're asking me to predict the fight,
yeah, go on.
Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna go for a very unpopular, unlikely outcome, bro. I'm gonna go for an upset. I'm gonna go for Carla Esparza, and I'm just gonna go with see, it's a 5-round fight, bro. If it was a 3-round fight, I would have said decision, but it's hard to say. Do you know what I'm gonna go with it, man? Carla Esparza decision, total just smothering, lay and pray, ground and pound, beat down.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Of Rose Namajunas, similar to what happened in their first fight.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think Thug Rose loves rematches, bro. Like, every time she had a rematch, she's won. So I'm gonna carry on with that tradition, bro. I'm saying Thug Rose in 2, bro. I think she's gonna catch her with a head kick, and that's it. Yeah. And like she done with Zhang Wei Li and just win it that way, bro. And like, but I said, like, listen, people, this is it. I said, if Esparza can get Thug Rose down to the ground, I said that's Esparza's world. But I just think that in that training camp, Thug Rose is going to work on takedown defense, and she's just going to try and avoid everything to get taken down to the ground, bruv. But we're going to see what happens. It's an interesting fight. As we said, styles make fights, people. And it's going to be one of them intriguing ones as well. And obviously, Esparza is going to be confident, even though it was how many years ago. But if someone's got a W over you, they've got a W over you. So you're going to take confidence from that. But we're going to see what happens in that fight. Finally, bruv, this is another one that we would say the people's fight, bruv, the people's main event. In this one, Chandler, bruv, versus the Derek Chisora in the UFC, bruv. Your boy, bruv. Tony, bruv. Nah. I don't even want to talk about this fight, bruv. I'm being honest, bruv. Huh?
You can't call El Kakui was it Del Boy,
bruv? He's a Derek Chisora in UFC, bruv. Like, this...
Nah, bruv. That's disrespectful, bro.
Two. Don't listen. I have an issue with guys that don't know when to stop. Like, it's this thing where they just don't know where to stop. Tony Ferguson, bruv, absolute killer. I remember the days where I didn't watch UFC, bruv, and you used to educate me on Ferguson, bruv. And obviously, when I got into the UFC, when it was touted that he was supposed to fight Khabib, bruv, I was scared. I was scared for Khabib, bruv, because I was just like, this guy's unorthodox. He doesn't give up. It's going to be 5 rounds of hell or 3 rounds of hell, whichever one it is. And bro, he's just a shadow of what he was, bruv. He's a shadow of what he was. And now we're looking at him versus Chandler. He's been out I can't remember how many years Ferguson hasn't fought for. I want to say it's 2, but I think it might be shorter than that. His last fight was against your boy, Dariush, bruv.
No, it was just last year, man. In May.
That was the last year?
He's only been out. He's only been out for a year.
Okay, so
only 1 year. Only one year, yeah.
So it's been out for a year.
Pretty much a year long, yeah.
Yeah, but he's on a 3-fight losing streak right now, right? Don't get me wrong, Chandler's on a 2-fight losing streak right now, so it's the battle of the losers at the moment. But, all right, let's dissect this fight. We know it's going to be a war. We know it's going to be nuts. But my question to you is, bro, Tony Ferguson, what can he show us in this fight to say that he has any right to still be fighting in the UFC, bro?
That's hard, bro. You're going bare hard on fucking Tony, bro. Like, he hasn't provided us.
I hate guys that don't know when to quit, bro.
But bro, listen. Like, let's just run it back, bro. Like, I know you may have got into UFC a little bit later than seeing the full sort of highlight reel of Tony. But let's say you just did start off in and around that Khabib sort of fight timeline. Yeah. Bro, come on, like the way he took out Dos Anjos and Kevin Lee and Pettis and Cowboy, like they were memorable fights, bruv. He provided us with a lot of fights, bruv. So I think there's a degree of nepotism involved, and the last 3 fights that he did lose, man. Let's keep it real. Like, anyone would lose against those guys. These are top guys. Yeah, Gaethje, Oliviera, and Dariush. Like, they need no fucking. We don't need to read their CVs out. They're fucking killers. Everyone knows this. Matchup-wise, they were good matchups for Tony as well. Like, Justin is a good matchup for Tony. Oliveira was a good matchup for Tony. Beneil Dariush was a good matchup for Tony. We just didn't see how far the chasm was and the decline was between Tony and the guys at the top. Now, again, Chandler is one of those guys at the top. Stylistically, does his style and Tony's style mesh? Yeah, they do. Does Tony has a chance to beat Chandler? Yeah, he does. Maybe in his prime, a much better chance. But he's still, like I said, there's a lot of holes in someone like Chandler's game. He is still he's still a very hittable guy. We're not talking about Israel Adesanya, like a once-in-a-lifetime phenom fucking fighter, like a Anderson Silva. Like, he's not being fed to the wolves as much as it's being played out like he is.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Sure. I still think this is a very worthy fight. I still think he should be offered these sort of fights. However, tomorrow night, potentially not tomorrow night, Saturday night, whenever this is released.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? We will see. He may even be hanging up his gloves after this fight.
Well, this is my thing, and obviously we'll wait to see. We'll in the review show, people, which we have here next week, we'll wait to see what happens with this fight. I just think that, I said, legendary. I've heard you speak about him. I've seen the fights. I just think there's a time when he is stopped, and I know you said it because you said it to me about Aldo, and obviously Anderson Silva going on too long, and you said it's not about the money, it's not about the fame, it's just that it's the fighter in them. They have to keep going. But my whole thing is that there should be a point where it comes and you just think to yourself, these guys are clearing me. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. And you got to think about your health as well. But I know it's the fighter in them, but I'm just like, these guys are clearing me. Do I really want to start becoming a journeyman and tarnishing my career? Don't be wrong, he's still fighting killers. So at this moment in time, it's justified. But my whole thing is, I do believe if he loses this fight to Chandler and he loses badly, it is time to hang up those gloves, bruv. I can't see where he can go. Even if he wins, I say go out on a win, because I don't see him beating any of the top guys again. I think There's too much mileage on the clock. I don't know. Maybe you'll know more than me. I think that stoppage, obviously the first stoppage that he's ever had in his career against Gaethje, I think that took a lot out of him as well. So I'm just on one of these ones where this could be Ferguson's swan song, win or lose. But I know you're saying if he wins, he's going to keep going, isn't it?
I mean, that's a hard. Like, I don't want him to continue going on. I do agree. I think, you know, the sell-by date for a fighter like Tony has, you know, expired. The ship has sailed for Tony. Again, one of those fighters whose style is very dependent on a peak period, a very short-lived peak period. For Tony, it went on for much, much longer because the guys in the division just could not keep up with his relentlessness. Do you know what I mean? He was the boogeyman. Like, no matter what
100.
skill, you know, no matter what you brought to the table, no matter how good you were at one thing or at everything, he was just the guy that will fucking take it away from you. He will take control away from you. And that was a bit of the mystique that came in when, you know, you were discussing the Khabib fight earlier and, like, you know, why people were scared because they just didn't know. They didn't know, would this guy be the guy that will break Khabib and take his soul? But then we found out, you know what I mean? We found out later on that Khabib has no soul. Like, them Dagestani dudes have no soul, bro. They're just built different. They fucking wrestle bears, bro. You get what I mean? So now, like, with him going on and where he would go, it's not very far. Do you know what I mean? There may be a potential title run in him, but we'll have to see. The decision of him hanging up the gloves can only solely come down on him. But again, just based off what we've seen of him, like, he has taken a fucking battering in his last 3 fights. And if I'm being a bit cynical, they've still been entertaining fights.
Oh yeah, they have.
You know what I mean?
Like, the one thing you can't say about Tony Ferguson is that they've been boring fights. They haven't been.
No, I mean, you know, the way he survived the arm bar and the knee bar against Oliviera and fucking Benil.
I thought it was going to break.
On both occasions. So, come on. Do you think someone like that will just give up when everyone else is telling him to give up?
Nah.
It's not going to happen, is it? But we'll see. Because, yeah, someone like him, stories in the past about his mental health and obviously this 3-fight losing streak, this skid, and the visible decline of his performances, it is a worrying sign. But we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping that this performance won't be as bad as the last 3, even if he loses.
No, this is what I'm saying. If he can, even if he loses, if he puts up a good performance, I'm happy with that. I just don't want to see man get absolutely torn apart. But in saying that, as we said, Chandler's on a 2-fight losing streak. Obviously, losing to Oliviera and Gaethje. So it's one of them ones where he's come over from Bellator, obviously beat Dan Hooker, but is he now been put in a situation where, as we said when he first came in, he's in with the big dogs now? And is he looking like, as you said about Esparza, was he a big fish in a little pond and now he's a little fish in a big pond? Because there's question marks over Chandler right now in terms of coming over and not really hitting the heights that he should do. I personally think he's been fast-tracked because there's a lot of other fighters that you should have fought before the 2 that I mentioned. But he's got something to prove. So even if you look at it from that perspective, if he loses to Tony Ferguson, where does Chandler go? This is a must-win for Chandler if he wants to carry on in the UFC.
Yeah, absolutely, bruv. You hit the nail on the head. Bruv. His last 2 fights have been a good measuring stick. Now, even though he's not provided boring fights and he's hung in there with some of the best, you have to look at some of the guys that are coming up, man, like Islam and Benil, Fiziev, these guys, they could potentially beat him.
Yeah.
You know, so where does that leave him? He needs to start picking up some wins, and he needs to start picking them up quick, because the weakest out of the bunch is Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson, yeah.
You know what I mean? If they had given him Benil, if they had given him anyone else in the rankings, even maybe like out of that rankings, I would say Rafael Dos Anjos and Tony Ferguson for someone like Chandler is the easiest fight.
Yeah.
With
100%.
no disrespect to those two guys. But
Islam,
Benil,
Father Time's come up against those two. Like, they've had their time. So 100%. Whereas you're coming up against, obviously, the guys that are dominating now, and then the younger guys, and obviously Benil and Islam and what. Bro, Chandler's in trouble. He's in trouble.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And Tony Ferguson said it best when Chandler came over to the UFC and got a title fight immediately after beating Dan Hooker. And that was, he's got Dana White privilege. Dana White really likes him. The thing is, Chandler's got a good name, man. He's got a good, he's got a reputation, man. People know him from Bellator. The MMA community know him. That, like you said, he's been fast-tracked, so they've marketed him, they've promoted him. He is an asset to the UFC. He definitely is an asset to the UFC. So they're going to try to keep him around for as long as possible and keep him up there with those names, because he is a good fighter. He's definitely an elite fighter, but he's, exposed. He's been exposed many times. And for him now, this is a must win against Ferguson. This is a must win, because after this, the rest of the guys are all much more dangerous than Tony Ferguson is, in my opinion.
100%. Two, what's your prediction, bro? What are you saying for this one? 3-rounder. What are you saying?
Do you know what, man? With this one, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go with Michael Chandler by decision. Again, three round domination. But I'm hoping Tony wins, man. In fact, do you know what? I'm changing that. Same prediction. I'm going to go with 3 rounds. 3 rounds. I'm going to go decision Tony. And it's going to be a bloodbath. Tony's gonna fight like he's got something to prove, bro. Trust me. Tony's not gonna go down like he did against Justin or Oliveira or Benil. This is a fight where Tony can just keep Chandler on his feet and toy with him and play with him and just turn into the boogeyman that we've seen from Tony, that we've come to love of Tony. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm going for. With my chest out high, bro. Tony's going to bring it home. He's going to bring it home.
Bro, listen. I hope Tony gives a good performance, and I hope he can roll back the years and show a good performance. Me personally, too, I was going with you, but I'm going Chandler by decision, because I think if he's going to go out, if Tony's going to go out, he's not going to go out by stoppage, bro. So I think that Chandler by decision for him, and I think Tony's going to give a good account of himself.
This is how you know Michael Chandler is TJ's boy from day, because every Michael Chandler fight till now. No.
I said I sided with you with Gaethje when he fought Gaethje.
Listen, every Michael Chandler fight, this guy has given him his roses and predicted Michael Chandler will win, bro. We may need to go back and check the Gaethje fight, actually.
Yeah, we may need to go back. I'm not gonna lie, even when I said it, I was like, I can't remember.
No, we may need to, bro. Because to be honest, I don't remember. All I remember is there is a strong track record between you, and you can't deny this, bro. You know this is true,
bro. He's not even my boy. That's the biggest joke. It's just that when I looked at the fights, I was just like, Chandler.
It's true, bro. Even I don't get the vibe that he's your boy, bro. Like. But you always
think my boy. I don't even like him like that. I just picked him because obviously, like his reputation from Bellator, and I thought he was going to do well. But nah, I think.
I don't know.
But in this fight in particular against Tony Ferguson,
No, bro, this is the one fighter, yeah. Like, I remember it wasn't even big MMA news as well. Like, usually if it's big MMA news, like a Conor fight or something, and Ngannou, like, yeah, we'd all be on it, yeah. But this wasn't even big MMA news. And I checked my WhatsApp, and it was a message from you on the group. It's like, yeah, Michael Chandler's just signed to the UFC. I'm like, bro, what the fuck, man? How random, bruv. Bro, from that day, it's just like, you're just on top of all the Michael Chandler news.
Nah, people don't listen to slander, bro. It's not even like that. It's not even like that at all.
No, for real. Like, that's a very realistic prediction, man.
Yeah, no, 100. 2, you want to talk about the rest of the card?
Just real quick, real quick, run through some of the other fights that are on the card. So we've got another rematch. Mauricio Shogun Rua, former Pride heavyweight.
Shogun on that card.
Yeah, Shogun's on the fight.
Over St. Peru fight.
Yeah, bro. OSP, bro. OSP Rua rematch.
I haven't seen that guy. I know 2 you'll know. I haven't seen that guy since he fought John Jones, bro. I thought he left.
No. OSP's been in there. He's just turned into like a journeyman sort of gatekeeper kind of guy. You know, win-loss sort of record kind of going on for him. But yeah, the rematch. So in the first fight, OSP knocked him out in the first round. Really sort of swift, sudden, pretty bad, vicious knockout. And then, rematch. Looking forward to that one. That's a throwback. Both guys past their sell-by date, past their primes. This is just a fun fight. You know what I mean? Obviously, Ovins is from the island, so shout out the island boys. You know, big up Haiti, the Caribbean, all the man them up there. Watch out for TJ trying to get the island boys a fight in the UFC.
I'm a dickhead, bro.
And then we got, I think it's another rematch. Cowboy versus Lozon. Let me just check Cowboy's record real quick. I think this is a rematch as well, because I feel like they should have fought. No, they've not fought, which is amazing because they've been in the same division for years. Both of them are veterans. I can't believe this is the first time they're fighting. That's also another fun fight, throwback fight. Again, both of them got names on them. So the MMA fans will enjoy this fight. Again, past their prime. I think Lozon would win in that one. And then who else have we got? We've got, another island boy. Big up Randy Brown, bruv. He is actually one of the guys that I've been bigging up since day, like even on the group. Like,
what class is he?
Huh? I'm not sure actually. Let me just double check. He's in one of the bigger weight classes. I think middleweight, welterweight. Yeah, man. Randy Brown,
man, bruv.
No, Randy Brown, bruv. Randy Rude Boy Brown, bruv. Proper, like, I enjoy his fights, bruv. I'm not gonna lie. He lost against Luque. He's lost against Nico Price, Bilal Muhammad. Some of the guys again that I rate and that are on the up and coming. But this will be a good win for him to get him back into the sort of prospect contention, get him ranked. He's a good fighter, bruv. Good stand-up, good wrestling, pretty much an all-rounder.
Yeah.
And a likable guy as well, likable character as well. He's got a tough fight against Chaos Williams, who's vicious sort of puncher, knockout kind of guy. The rest of the prelims are fire, man. I'm not even going to get into them. Some of these names on here are good enough to be a fight night card on its own. So if you've got fuck all to do on a Saturday and you're boring like me with no life, then you could start watching from the prelims and you'll be fascinated, bruv. You'll be fascinated. But yeah, can't wait, bruv. Can't wait.
Cannot wait, bruv. Cannot wait. And people, listen, 274, as I said, Saturday night, Sunday morning, obviously, if you're in the UK. It's going to be an absolutely mad card. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know what you think about Oliviera versus Gaethje, who you got for that. Let us know what you got. Thug Rose and Esparza. Will Thug Rose get revenge, or will you side with 2 and Esparza gets another victory over her and wins the belt back? Chandler versus Ferguson, battle of the losers. as I'm gonna tout it, bruv, is this Ferguson's final fight. Is Chandler done if he loses to Tony Ferguson, bro? And obviously all the other fights on the card. Let us know what you think in the comment section. And as usual, before we go, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the likes up, the subscription, all that good stuff. As I say all the time, share. We are here. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. I want to say thank you very much, bruv, to my guy Tooth. As always, been a fun show as always. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, bruv. I appreciate it, man. Listen, man, throw this in the intro, bruv. If we get more than 10 fucking likes out of our 3 subscribers and 3 viewers that watch this fucking show, I know the maths doesn't add up, bruv, but we may do a live stream of the fights one day.
Yeah.
One day, listen, bruv. We're trying to build, we're trying to expand, bruv.
Real talk, people. We are gonna start doing lives. We are gonna start doing lives very, very soon. Gonna try and sort that out. I've got some of the software already, so I'm gonna try to start doing lives, and we are gonna start trying to do watch-alongs as well, people. So all that stuff is coming very, very soon. So watch out for that. 100%.
Bro, you know what? A bad one with championship. No, that's sick, brother. A good one would be the NBA finals, bro.
Oh,
that would be a good one to do it.
You see these NBA and UFC, bro. I'm trying to stay awake. Is a problem for me, bro. Man would be doing watch-alongs and repeats, bro. Everyone knows what happened. I'm just like, yeah, I'm here at 9 a.m. in the morning, bro, doing a live watch-along, a rewatch, bro. Because trying to be awake at them times there, bro. Definitely on a Sunday one when they're on earlier, 100%, bro.
I feel you, bro.
But people coming up, obviously, Footy Chat will be back. There's so much to cover in football that we haven't covered, so we've got that to look forward this week as well. And 2, as you know, bro, as you said it, bruv, the NBA playoff, NBA talk is coming very, very soon. It'll be coming very, very soon. I'm going to get on to Mr. KA and the Truth, and the Cooking with Rash wants to make an appearance as well. So we're definitely going to organize NBA talk to come back very soon as well. But people, stay safe out there, be safe, and we shall see you very, very soon. Peace.